Looks like it says we're live now. I just still don't see anything on here.
I got it going on. We're here.
Yep, there we go.
So we're going to let some people kind of join in here. Looks like there's some viewers popping up, and then we're going to have the questions over there on the other side. Don't really know what's going on because it says that there's one viewer, and that viewer is Keith Lake. So, Keith, thanks for joining me.
Hey, we just went up fivefold. We got 5 in here now.
That's all right. We'll let some viewers join in here over the next minute or two, and we're kind of going to get to it and have some fun. As people start to pour in, I'm going to give a shout out to everybody that is going to be watching this after the fact, whether it's on Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, any of those other downloadable platforms. Just thank you guys for watching, and we're excited to get this party started.
Hey, Nick, I want to thank you too and Stephanie for covering for me last week. I was delivering a 345 Conquest, and how'd that go?
It was good. Stephanie is, I've said it, before, and I'll say it again. She's one of the most product knowledge driven individuals in the industry, and it was just great. We talked about the boat building process, what that looks like, why it's different now than it has been in years past as far as the buying experience, the selling experience, and basically how to overcome this little inventory crisis, which I'm sure we'll cover that today. But looks like we've got a few people joining in. Looks like we got a question from YouTube. How's it going? And today we are going to be talking about the boat delivery process. MarineMax delivering the boating dream. We say it every day, and we've got a special guest from MarineMax Pensacola, 14-year team member, sales and brokerage, chairman circle member, Kit Bodree. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be here.
Awesome. We are going to be talking about all things deliveries. So between us three, especially Captain Keith, you've done a few deliveries, haven't you?
Yep. Well, that's kind of my job, and I know you got the captain title there, but Nick's main focus, ladies and gentlemen, is sales. So either one of these guys here. Mm-hmm. So as this episode's going on today, drop in your questions. If you want to contact them, you can contact each one of these guys at their respective stores too.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith, or Kit rather, why don't you tell us about what brought you to MarineMax? You've been in the industry with MarineMax a long time, but what brought you here?
Well, what started it's kind of a crazy story. My mom used to get the paper. Now everything's digital, but she got the paper one day, and I just graduated high school, and she said, "Kit, you're not going to believe this, but there's a job opening at MarineMax." And I said, "What's MarineMax?" She said, "It's a boat dealership." And I grew up on a 1986 Checkmate 18-foot bow rider. I think it was in the shop more than it ran. But we boated all of our lives growing up. And my mom's like, "You should go try that out for a summer job until you start college." So sure enough, it drugged me in, which was at the time, I actually came in right at the transition of Killinger Marine, which was at the time the oldest Boston whaler dealer in the country. And John Armbruster, who's now at Tierra, was my GM, and transitioned to another one once John stepped out. But that's how it all started. And so here I am, actually 15. I just got my 15-year plaque, by the way.
Wow.
So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Time flies, man, doesn't it?
It does. I feel old.
Well,
oh man, you're a lifer. Hats off to that.
Do I have any gray hair?
Can't really tell.
Looks like we got Anthony Armeo here joining in from the MarineMax Miami fishing team.
Kathy Sabraza is on here. Brian Drapp. What's going on, Brian?
Oh, guys, I'm going to let you continue on this conversation. I need to plug in my computer. I just realized I didn't do that, so better now than later. But here, I'll be right back. I'll let you guys get to it.
All right, so Kit, what's your delivery process up there? Like, so a customer comes in the door, gets with you, and then where do we go from there?
So, MarineMax really does value a captain in the sales process. And as you know, you're one of the most valuable team players we have at the end, because it's, sales the first, service sells the rest, and you're built into all of that. So Captain Chris Burkett, who a long-time MarineMax employee as well as yourself, and he's a valuable part, especially when it comes to yachts and big boats, and having that extra tool and that last touch when they leave the closing office to know that they're going to get an orientation and not just say thank you for your business is, I mean, it's huge. It really does. And it's a touch. I mean, I just delivered an S6 about 2 months ago, and we got on the customer's personal plane and flew down to pick the boat up in St. Pete. I'm sorry, actually in Dania Beach. And when he saw that Captain Chris was going with us, we took a mechanic with us. You know, that touch of him asking questions the whole way back, it was huge. I mean, that's 3 days of, you know, Asmit's peace of mind, they call it. Well, that was a peace of mind to that guy. He was coming back with a captain, and he was going to have full knowledge of that boat when it landed in Destin. But I mean, I just think that's a huge value. And, you know, when I get done with my sale, I try to introduce Captain Chris if he's not on a delivery, especially in the summertime. It's tough. But when they, especially a lady, when they get to meet Captain Chris, they always say, do you offer training? And that's huge for us. And, you know, with coronavirus, we haven't been able to do as much women on water, but that's a big piece of our business here, especially being on the water like y'all. But my customers really value that. And a lot of my business being here so long has really turned into repeat business. And as my customers climb up in inventory and go to larger boats, they value that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, they're just not your customers. I mean, they become your personal friends. And same thing, you know, with me and the clients and you guys in sales, you've got your team, but I've kind of got, you know, I've got everybody. And, you know, Captain Chris up there, I mean, shoot, he's got it made. You guys got a long run from the Panhandle, you know, but you guys will do Bahamas trips and stuff just like what we do. And, you know, I've seen him. I mean, he may leave for a week or two, and sometimes they'll have to leave the boats over to Bahamas and they fly back and they do different things. But it's pretty neat.
It is. It is. He plays a huge role in this business. He's been here a long time. And like you said, they're not customers anymore when they mount 2, 3, 4 boats. They're family members. And that's what we are. You know, we're leaving April 30th. We're going to start out Cinco de Mayo in Key West and keep plugging to the Bahamas. I mean, we have right now, I think there's 12 boats signed up. You know, perfect. Cross our fingers that it doesn't start flailing out and this thing calms down a little bit. But that's huge to us, you know, as our captain.
Yep. So we got a question kind of on some of our things here. So like how to navigate safely on the waterway. Well, that's where the captains kind of fall into this too, right? So not only are we going to give you an orientation on your boat, there's tons of YouTube videos out there with Kelly Berry behind the scenes here and myself. I mean, we've got a whole library of stuff that, you know, clients, whether they're our clients or anybody, can go to MarineMax.com or go to YouTube and just type in MarineMax Captain Keith. And you're going to, whether it's learning your electronics, whether it's Raymarine or Simrad or Garmin or dealing with the intercoastal waterway, we've got a whole library of stuff in there for people to use.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And Keith, you've done a lot of great videos yourself as far as, you know, like intercoastal waterway traveling. The biggest one, and this is under one of Kit's big things, is one of the biggest fears that we have is anchoring up at a sandbar, especially. And I know that you have a video out there on a Boston Whaler 330 Outrage, and it looks like they just posted it over there. But just, you know, all those little things. I mean, shoot, how often do you see it, and how sad is it to see when people buy boats from other dealerships and they're scared of them, right? And it's intimidating at first, especially for first-time boaters. So just those things that we might do, and, you know, some of our customers that are 2, 3, 4-time boat owners that don't even think about this or that. It's a big deal to a lot of first-time boaters. And, you know, that's what MarineMax does a great job with the captains, is showing people how to really have fun on their boats and not be afraid of it. So, and it is a beautiful thing when you look back after somebody's owned a boat for a year or two and you see them operating on a getaway as a pro. And, you know, it's like, man, when they first took delivery, they never would have seen themselves doing that.
Yeah. Yep. And it's continuing education and stuff like that. So, I mean, if down the road, anybody, if you've got a question or something's not making sense, get hold of your local captain at your store or your salesperson, you know, and they're going to get you in a hold of somebody, get you some training. So this morning I was over on the beach over at Largo Intercoastal Marina, and there was a client in there with a 270 sun deck that somebody else had done the orientation because we were doubled up that day. So they've had the boat about a month, and I went over with them today and they go, you know, Captain Keith, we still never even dropped the anchor. They've got a windlass on there. So it's like, all right, come on, let's go. We run out. Let's go take it over here to the beach. They got a Fortress stern anchor. And you do it a couple times and it's just repetition. When you're a little kid learning how to ride a bike, you go down to the end of your street and come back, and then you start going further and further. And that's the way boating works. You venture out a little bit, and then your confidence builds up. And the next thing you know, you're looking at your stern and you're never coming back.
Well, you get those people though that, Blue Angels, for an example, such a huge boating day for us, huge boating weekend. You get those guys, we do a huge raft up, and our customers, to be honest with you, they look like pros. We have 20, 25 boats occasionally sometimes. Captain Chris does a really good job with that, with the getaway for that. And our customers just look like pros. And, we do every other boat because we're on the hook for so long. And as they back up and raft up at the same time and they're dropping the hook, you got to be able to throw a stern anchor. And you get those people that are backing in that they've never even dropped their anchor. They get to where they're going and they drop it, and you have a disaster. And an anchoring can cause, because people they panic at the wheel. Mm-hmm. And the first thing they do is they punch the throttle, and it's the scariest moment because you're normally in a no wake zone and people are around, and it's just a very intimidating. I've seen it so many times at the island, and I'm the first guy. My wife always says, "Why do you jump out and help? You don't even know those people." It's like, well, it's just what I do. It's my passion, and I always do. I always have.
Yeah. Oh man, I told Keith he could make a killing right there at Bunce's Pass just from some of the getaways that we do, where he stands on the north end of the sandbar and just is constantly hopping on boats and helping people out and stuff like that. You could probably quit your job at MarineMax and just be there on the weekends. And
that's too much work, buddy. You can have that one out there.
Keith, I'm gonna get you a tip bucket. I'm gonna strap a tip bucket to your welt.
It's chaos out there.
Just walk around and you just put MarineMax tips accepted.
Yeah, it's not the little suspenders belt. It's a little tip jar belt, right?
Yeah. Well, looks like we got a few questions coming in here. I know that we have a lot to cover in our segment today on our 3 top questions points on boat deliveries. So 3 most common questions that we get. We'll get to those in a minute. But if you guys want to knock out some of these questions here from both YouTube and Facebook here, we can
you want to start up at the top going with Matt's question there?
Yeah, we've got Matt Hamilton off YouTube.
Yep.
Says, what is your guys' opinion on going offshore on a Sailfish 245 dual console? We carry Sailfish up in New England. I know that. Not to speak on the brand at all, but let's talk about a 25-foot dual console, okay? So chances are we're either talking about a small twin-engine boat or a big single-engine boat. Going offshore in a boat like that, you can absolutely do it, but if you're going to do it, you're going to need to, you're going to need to watch the weather a little bit more closely than if you were in a, 40-foot center console. And also definitely make sure that you have all the proper safety equipment as far as your EPIRB, your VHF, definitely all your life jackets and flares and stuff like that. But just, you can do it. Yeah, I'd say it's not ideal, but if the weather's perfect, then give it a shot. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Yep, go for it. And then, the third rule comes in on any boat.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a third of your fuel to get offshore. That gives you a third to get back home, and then you got a third in reserve. So it might be a glass calm day and you're running 40 or 50 miles offshore, and that's just a straight shot. Well, now the wind picks up, the waves pick up, and now you're going through a 3-foot sea. Well, that straight line, now you're having to do 3 foot up and 3 foot back down. That's actually a 6-foot drop. So you're going 6 down, 6 up. Oh, now all of a sudden that 40-mile run turns into 45, 46, 47 miles just because of that sine wave that you're having to run. So you're going to need extra fuel to get back in, and you're not going to be able to go as fast.
Hope that helps, Matt. So get on out there and get after it. Let's see.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't let that bother me at all.
Keith, you want to take Lisa's question down there?
Where's she at? Do I really need to read the training manual? Yes. That's what it's in there for. I can pretty much promise you, you can find the answer to your question in your owner's manual or on YouTube. You're not the first one to think of that question or have that question. There are no, dumb questions, but I get a lot of phone calls, and it's like somebody, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot or whatever, but which is fine. That's why everybody's got my phone number, but more than likely you're going to be able to find it right there in the owner's pack.
And also you get it a lot too from just I mean, use the equipment really. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to have a lift back and behind your house, I mean, go ahead, crack a beer or whatever, go back there, learn the shortcuts and stuff like that. It's just like, when you got an iPhone for the first time, it's like, okay, how the heck do I use this thing? And you can probably answer a lot of your questions from just kind of toying in different shortcuts, different whatevers. You can customize your own screens on, your home screen for exactly what you're going to want, and just use it, because if you're trying to learn it while you're out on the water, it's too late.
Yep. Start pushing buttons, and then you go, oh, wow, I didn't know it did this. How'd I get there? And you're not going to be able to remember, but you just kind of just keep doing it and going through it, fumbling through it. And all of a sudden there is a method to it.
Yeah. Grady White does a really good job with that. And don't think that I'm biased, Nick, but they do a good job with Captain Grady app and just talking about knowing your boat, knowing everything about it. I mean, my customers use it all the time that have had 5 of them because they change seacock locations and stuff like that, but it shows you where everything is on the boat. And it's on your iPhone,
That's pretty cool. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? So they have an app where it's, what is it?
So if you buy,
manual?
Correct. So everything's digital. If you buy a new Grady through MarineMax, or I'm sure any Grady dealer, they give you a username and login to Captain Grady app, and it will show you everything about that boat. From, it gives you an introductory video to open your generator seacock if you have a generator, where the strainer basket is, because they hide that stuff now with today's technology and so many different things they put on the boats. So it's a very, very good tool to have that you can have right there on your iPhone.
Interesting. Well, you learn something new every day. So that's what I learned today.
I wish a few other boat manufacturers would do that.
I know.
It'd be nice. It's very time consuming, I'm sure. I mean, I know the engineers take some serious time to go through, and it's a video for the most part. There's a few photos, but anything technical, it's a video for each part on there. It's pretty awesome. It can be simplistic too, but for a first boater that buys let's just call it a 376 Canyon center console. I mean, that is a huge tool to that guy.
Yeah, for sure. Kit, you want to take this next question here from Raphael?
Electronics can be overwhelming for a new boater. Basic delivery, did not have enough time to really go through them. What expectation, it moved again. What expectation is a new customer regarding how to use the gear from MarineMax? So what I would say is, if you purchase a new boat, okay, he bought a 350 Realm. So based upon which store you purchased it from, let's get you to the nearest captain from MarineMax and let's set up another orientation and let's go through it again, because a boat of that size, just sold one myself, it sometimes takes 2 deliveries. That's a lot. For example, Captain Keith and Nick, you both know. I mean, That's a lot of boat. I mean, you can information overload in a matter of 2 to 3 hours very, very fast. So get in touch with your local store and let them come back over and do another orientation with you and get familiar with your electronics and go through the systems on that boat, because there's a lot at the panel.
Even with the smaller boats too, I saw early this morning, we had a 210 SPX. We had a reorientation on that boat, first time boaters. And yeah, I mean, the electronics, I had a guy call me this morning as well. Sometimes we're fortunate enough to have Don Ross here at MarineMax in St. Pete. He'll specifically spend time just on the electronics.
Absolutely.
After the fact. And like you said, Kid, those big boats, especially when you're moving up to your big azimuths and stuff like that, that's definitely a multi-day delivery process.
Yeah, and write down your questions, when it comes to electronics. And, Captain Keith can answer and, dial into, because that stuff gets so technical. And when you have a 35 Realm, you really, everything talks to the boat. So he can break everything down. And, just like you said, Nick, electronics alone, you could spend 4 or 5 hours going through everything on the boat, because the systems are on the electronics too, if it's Raymarine. So.
Yep. And you're right. You can only absorb so much, and, you're sitting down there in a cabin, and whether it's just transferring from shore power to generator, you got the AC switches, the DC switches, the, white and reds. And they try to make it simple, but still it's, you get somebody and then they go, all right, well, I need this on for the air conditioner. No, you have to have either boat plugged in or their generator going. So it's just repetition. And then during the delivery, right? So then it's like, okay, let's get cranked up, and then we'll go out, then we come back in, and then you reverse the process, and then you're plugging in. So, absolutely, Raphael. So like Kit said, get in touch with somebody at your store and come out and let them spend some more time with you.
Delivery processes are different for everybody along the way. Keith, how many? I got a good one for you, and maybe you too, Kit. How many airline pilots have you guys delivered boats to?
Quite a few. I mean,
probably 5 or 6.
And what did air deliveries look like, Keith? I mean, and Kit, they
very
technical. Yeah,
very, very technical.
Very technical.
They're gonna make
their own spreadsheet.
They're going to do their pre-departure checklist. Then they're going to do their underway checklist. Then they're going to, there's a checklist for everything. And it's also kind of funny. You get out and then it's like, okay, flying a plane, if something goes wrong, it's pretty much going to suck. You're going to probably fall out of the sky, right? Out here, something goes wrong. Oh, well, okay. So we just kind of stop and float around and try to figure it out. So it's just kind of, you get out there and then once you get used to it and then, your stress goes down, the blood pressure drops and you just kind of chill out a little bit, but when they first come in, man, I mean, they've got the whole sheet, and the thing is, if you plug something in first or second, or your boat's not going to short out, you're not going to hurt anything. With the joystick piloting, right? You should power on your batteries, starboard to port, power your keys on starboard to port, because the joystick piloting system, the brain is on that starboard side. But if you do it the other way around, it's going to be fine. It's just the preferred method of kind of letting it boot up, the right way. So it's, you're not going to break anything if you get something out of sequence.
I'd be lying if I told you that I knew that, Keith.
Read your owner's manual.
read the manual, Nick.
So let's take a step back there. So you're supposed to fire up these multi-engine boats starboard to port.
Yep, and shut them down the opposite way.
Interesting.
So when you power on the starboard side, that powers up the box that runs the joystick. It's got the Mercury antenna tied into it and all that stuff. So everything else just falls in line with that. Then when you shut it down, you go the other way. And then there's to just anybody listening, if you throw a code, maybe you got a steering error or something, it could be a glitch because it's all highly electrical, driven. To reset or reboot your boat, turn off your ignition keys, put your throttles into wide open throttle reverse, let them sit for about a minute. Go back to neutral, then go back down, power up your keys, starboard to port, and then fire your engines up. And if it's just a faulty code that got, thrown in there, that'll clear that out.
Interesting.
Good information. Especially for the guy with the twin or triple engine application.
Yep. That's what it's for. Any of the JPO stuff.
Yep.
That's how you can reboot it.
I mean, the engines themselves are pretty foolproof now, too. I mean, like we were talking about, there's so many checks and balances. I mean, whether it's on one of these new breaker panels or, these new engines, everybody's so worried about, really hurting the engine. But, I mean, they're pretty darn, I don't want to call them bulletproof, but, I mean, they really won't let you hurt them as far as, going into RPM reduction modes and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Talking to me or Keith?
Anybody.
Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, there's all those safeguards all built into all that stuff anyway. So you're, like you said, go into Guardian mode if it's a severe thing. If it's a minor, issue, you're just going to get a little warning that says, hey, return to port, as soon as you can and let your service department know.
That's what we do too. We get a customer that takes delivery and, as you said, Keith, you give out your card, Captain Chris gives out his card, they panic and they're like, I just got the boat. So we always tell our customers, sign up for CETO. It's your friend, don't be scared to use it. It's what the membership's there for, it's what they're on the water for, to take care of you. And my family actually owns the local franchise, and you couldn't have asked for a better person to pick up the phone at midnight and call if you're broke down. I mean, if he's close by, he might not have a boat floating on the waterway, but we have one at our marina here. He stages here, lives here, and that's huge to a customer.
That's awesome. I got the CETO Sober Skipper band right here.
There you go.
Designated sober skipper, right?
That's right. Looks like there's another question right here from Joe Tucker.
You guys can answer that one. I'm really not the best with trailering boats.
I'll kind of hit on that because I just talked to a customer. What do you tell customers with an oversized beam while trailering? So in the state of Florida, to pull an oversized boat, anything over 8'6" wide and 13'6" tall has to have a legal permit through each state that you pull through, which means you have to put wide load signs, flags, front and back, wide load signs, front and back, to make that legal. And you can also go to your local DMV or call the DOT, but if you're looking to pull a boat that's oversized beam, that's going to be anything over 8'6" wide.
So we're learning all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So how do you
learn that?
Yeah. So is that the same as a recreational wide load permit or?
Yeah. Yep. So recreational wide load permit technically. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Captain Chris actually holds his CDL, so I learned that from him. Learn something every day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
got Matthew Walls over here from YouTube. Great questions coming off of YouTube to get today. If there's anybody on Facebook watching, ask those questions. Mark, I'll get to you here in a little bit. We've got Matthew here on YouTube. Any tips on what to look over in a boat delivery? I have a Regal 21 OBX being built, but I'm new to boat ownership. That's a great question, Matthew. It's generally speaking, when a boat's going to come from a factory, it's going to be pretty tight, but it is a boat. It's made by humans, as Captain Chris always likes to say. So there might be a few gel voids that you might open a hatch. You might notice something here or there. The nice thing about buying a new boat versus a used boat is you're not running at risk of inheriting somebody else's problem. So you're buying a new boat. It's going to come from the factory. Generally speaking, the factory is going to stand behind any little imperfection or blemish. And you get out on the water and have a relatively worry-free boating experience. So just look over the small stuff, attention to detail. Stuff might not work, a light might not come on, a pump might not come on. Just kind of check all your systems and just make sure that everything's good to go.
Yeah, so like here at MarineMax, I mean, there's PDI, you got pre-delivery inspection and stuff. So our riggers, that boat's going to come in from the factory. It's going to be in shrink wrap. It's going to come here. The guys are going to take it, going to cut it open. And then, they're going to be the first ones in the boat from the factory. And they will open every hatch, check and make sure every cushion is on there. And yeah, sometimes things get sent out. I mean, with COVID, it's been crazy. I mean, there's been boats that we couldn't get foam. The manufacturers couldn't make the cushions fast enough for these boats. Mm-hmm. So you had the option, okay, do I want to take delivery of my boat? Or do I want to wait 6 months and I might be able to get this bow cushion that I really, really want? Well, it's like, okay, it's an IOU. We get the boat, the riggers go through it. They'll put the batteries in. They fill it up with fuel. They check the gauges is one of the questions we've got on here too. And, they run the boat out, put it in the water and they'll go put time on it and go through all that. And then your delivery time is scheduled. And then myself or whoever your captain is at your store is going to get on the boat with you guys. And you're basically going to do the same thing. You're going to go through all your go boating kit. You're going to make sure all your safety gear's on there, your anchor. You're going to open the hatches. You're going to go through things. You're going to look through your electronics. You're going to learn how to flush your engines out. And then we're going to go out and run it. And we're going to come back in. And then whether it's putting it on a trailer or you take it home by water or however that goes. But the team behind us that's putting the boat together is, second to none at MarineMax at any of our stores. And that's we rely on those guys.
Absolutely.
Let's see. We've got a question. I'm going to let either Keith or Kit, you want to take this one from Mark on Facebook?
Hey guys, how reliable are the fuel gauges on a new Conquest 285? Well, I would hope that they're very accurate. Most fuel gauges do leave you some sort of reserve. I'm not sure on the 285. We haven't taken delivery of a new one in quite some time. But last time I was on the 285, I just sold a 13 model. The fuel gauges were half a tank, so I really didn't see what was left. I don't know what he's really referencing, but hopefully I answered. They're normally, most of your fuel gauges, leave you some sort of reserve when you hit the bottom of the fuel sender. This being the case, maybe contact Boston Whaler direct, and they can answer that question a little bit more in detail for you.
Yeah.
So that would be done through a vessel view system more than likely, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
it shows digitally and analog from a sliding, like a scale.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that digital should be pretty much dead on as long as it was set up.
Correct.
I'd have to look it up. I forget what a 285 holds, but you go in there and then, when they calibrate it, when our techs fill the boat up, then it goes to there. And then you've got your Mercury engines all integrated into that, and they know how much fuel each engine's burning. And it's just to do the math. I mean, it's going to subtract off of there, and it's going to should be very, very, very accurate. You can put up on that screen, your fuel burn, your economy, how many miles per gallon you're getting, range to empty. You got a bunch of different options that you can pull up on the screen and go search for in there.
I cheated, Captain Keith. It's 200 gallons on the 285 Conquest.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Boston Whaler app, by the way.
Yeah.
I love the Boston Whaler app.
Free app.
I used to be the guy that tried to know everything, and then just
Boston Whaler wins for the best app on
their app's
specifications.
awesome. Yeah. Their app.
It's awesome.
Yep. Specs.
So use that app flow as well. Shows fuel burn as well. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
And speaking of apps, the MarineMax app too, guys.
Yeah.
You're out on your boat, and if you've got something's going on right then and there, I mean, you can snap a picture, you can send an email, do all that to your service department, service team right there live while it's happening, or order fuel or get ice or get your boat cleaned and all that stuff through the MarineMax app.
Oh yeah. We've utilized that app a lot here in St. Pete for sure.
Oh, you guys definitely do down there a lot.
Yeah, Bruce, our service manager, is a big advocate. Chris, our marina manager, is huge on that too. He does pretty much everything through the app. Ooh, we got a good question over here from Bob. Bob Getz on YouTube. Lake Texoma is a reasonably large lake. Would you purchase a SLX 400 inboard or an SLX R 400E? Also, is there guidance as to the essentials to complete the package? Would you float it or use a lift? Oh man, that's a lot. That's a lot at once there. I guess we'll eat our elephant one bite at a time. Man, that's a difficult one. 400 SLX versus SLXR 400E, which is the one that they debuted at one of the shows last year with the electric battery bank and the 450R engines. I don't know. I mean, that's going to come down to preference. I mean, if we were in saltwater, it'd be a no-brainer. We'd be talking about the outboard one, but
sure.
I don't know. That's that really is going to come down to preference.
Also, too, even though the boat's going to be in fresh water, I mean, even around here, we still recommend. I mean, probably bottom painting the boat, right? Or getting some sort of paint on it, protect the gel coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you still have electrolysis when you're floating around on the dock, even if you float it in a freshwater marina.
Yeah. So if you've got the capability, putting it on a lift, go ahead and put it up.
Yeah.
And that kind of backs back up one question here to Rafael Cardozo. Because remembering the sea cocks as it comes in and out of the water as well, he's scared of burning something out.
Yeah.
So what he's referencing there, say he's got that 35 realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you're dealing with air conditioners, generator, and all that stuff. So as you pull a boat up out of the water, if the seacocks, the strainers are still open, that water drains out and out of there. So we put the boat back in the water. Now we've got a big air pocket there. Sometimes, depending on kind of the location of it or how strong the generator is or the air conditioning pump, it may not be strong enough to pull that cooling water up through the strainer to either the generator or the air conditioner. So it may shut itself off and you've got to go back in and clear some codes out. If you shut those strainers off before you pull the boat out of the water, then it holds that water in that container. So you don't have to worry about priming it back up again. Like he says, though, in this question, you just got to remember, okay, as soon as the boat goes back down in the water, you got to open that engine hatch up, get to the mechanical room hatch, open it up, and open those seacocks back up.
We use a good system here, Keith. I don't know if you ever do it, but Chris uses different colored dots, and knowing when you on the startup process, greens startup, reds to stop it, to shut it down. But knowing, hey, when you shut that AC pump off and you're shutting the boat down and you're done, go to that back hatch in the in the well back there and close that seacock off, just to remember. And you go to startup process where you turn that AC pump on, go to that hatch and open it up.
I will tell you, with the Westerbeeks that are coming in these now, I haven't seen the problems. I mean, those Kohlers, if they had one little burp in there, if they sensed like no water at all, even on that startup, your Kohlers would go into the code and shut itself off. But these Westerbeeks are a little more forgiving. I mean, they'll run for a second or two and prime up that seacock or the strainer. And I'm not seeing any problems with those things priming up whatsoever.
Yeah, the techs love those Westerbeeks too. They're very, very easy to work on, and warranty and stuff like that. So I believe most whalers are putting them in nowadays.
So Kit, got a guy here from, I can't pronounce his name, from the Middle East.
Yeah.
If I want to buy a boat, let's say it's an American factory, can it be delivered to the Middle East?
He's looking for a 405 Conquest.
405 Conquest. Boston Whaler is territorial, and they want to be able to service their customers after the sale. So based upon where you are, I don't know if there's a dealer in Saudi Arabia. I think that's where he wants to send the boat. Is that right? Yeah. You would first need to contact if there is a local dealer. I'm sure no one has a 405 Conquest in stock, and they're built out through almost 22. But try to contact your local dealer. If not, yes, you can probably come into the States. And the boat would have to be shipped to the local store, and then it would be exported from there. So hopefully that answers your question. But make sure you don't have a dealer in Saudi Arabia first. Because we want to be able to service you as well after the sale. That is a very big boat to have to take care of in the end.
Well said. Keith, this next question I think is best for you. Does MarineMax have a recommended vendor for additional online training? Your videos are great, but looking for something more in-depth. Thanks. That's from Steve. What's a good place to learn online?
Well, you've got, just general boating. Like I've got the Boat Smart guide here. So as far as like rules of the road, navigation, passing, things like that, there are online courses you can take. If you want to get more in depth into the navigation part of it and stuff like that, you got Power Squadron type things. Coast Guard offers courses. Sea School. We're lucky here in St. Pete. The main Sea School office is here, where a lot of people go and get their captain's licenses. A lot of people just go to the class that don't really have an intention of actually following through and getting your captain's license. Because one thing will happen if you do sit, and you can even take the Coast Guard course, right? Sit down and you go through and you ace it, and you're good. But until you actually turn the paperwork in and try to get that license, because then once you are an actual licensed captain, the liability factors are going to change for you. So yeah, it may give you a great discount on your insurance and stuff like that. But if you're out on the boat and some strange, crazy accident happens or something happens, anything, the liability is going to be a lot stronger because you're a captain and should have known better, rather than just a quote unquote weekend warrior that was out on the water and didn't have your radar going on and you bumped into something. But then if you're a captain and you didn't have the radar on, well, you're not using all means necessary to maintain safe and proper lookout, then you're opening the door to other things. Then, other than that, there's just, if you're looking for Raymarine stuff or Simrad stuff, it's just YouTube's got it, just dig in there and go through and look for that stuff, and then, whether it's Seakeeper, right? You go to the Seakeeper's website and they're going to have videos on what their stuff does, or each individual FLIR, you wanted the different cameras and stuff like that. So you can make decisions if you want to purchase one, which way to go.
Well said.
Looks like, so what a coincidence that I'm going to try to answer Fred's question. Please talk about the Go Boating Kit. And you skip down. Alan Spett just put, is there any needed equipment that's not included in the Go Boating Kit? Alan has a pontoon on order with me, y'all, that'll be in here very shortly.
Awesome.
Cool.
So
Congrats,
I'll
Alan.
answer his, yep. So Alan, I'll answer your question, and Fred, I'll answer it as well. Our Go Boating Kit is all there. So when Captain Keith is done delivering the boat with you, he wants you to go boating. Once you dump him off, that means bring him back to the dock first. Don't push him off. But it will come with everything you need.
Throw
Coast
me the
Guard.
Type 4 if you would, please, when you do that.
But it'll come with, I believe the kits vary depending on the boat. Offshore boats are going to come with probably offshore vests on the bigger stuff, but most of our boats will come with 4 to 6 life jackets, your appropriate amount of dock lines, which is 6 in most cases, your fenders for the appropriate size, your flare gun or flares in general based on the size of boat you purchase, your anchor with line and chain, depending on the size of boat is how much road you get, and fire extinguishers mounted in the boat. Depending on the size boat, you could get 2 or 3. So everything you need to go boating is on there. And you also get a full tank of fuel, which is something special MarineMax does. And it really does add up in the very end of the day when you start adding all these things in. So we're ready for you to get on the water when you're done with the captain and go enjoy it for the rest of the day.
Yeah, big question that I get is, hey, what do I need to go buy? What do I need to go? You know, everybody's so excited to go to West Marine or whatever it is and go on a shopping spree. And it's like, well, you know, you're going to be legal. You know, legal. You don't need to worry about getting pulled over the next day as long as you have enough life jackets. You know that.
Sure.
And it's funny because when you do get pulled over, there's a lot of FWC officers around here. You know, they'll see the MarineMax stuff and they'll just know right off the bat, okay, they took a delivery from MarineMax. They
leave you alone.
It's going to be pretty tight.
You know, that's something that it's kind of boggles my mind a little bit. I don't know how many deliveries I've done and go on. The day before delivery, these customers are going to West Marine and they're buying life jackets and the throw cushion and the fenders and the line. Somehow sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's a new sales guy or what, but that there's like a little disconnect there that they're not getting that information that, oh, you know, you don't have to do that. It all comes with it. I mean, I guess that's, you know, the first thing we walk down the dock and they see all that stuff. And, you know, the wife looks over to husband. We just bought all this. Yeah. And he's like, well, you still got the receipt? Yes. Okay. take it back because you do not need any of that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
That's huge. I mean, y'all do a good job down there with displaying out in St. Pete, Clearwater, especially like letting your customer walk up and see all that. Whereas, you know, I try to tuck mine away, but y'all have everything displayed so you can go over it, and you probably even tuck it away and tell them where it's, you know, hey, it's easy accessible here for your throw cushion. This is where your flare should go. Y'all do a really good job of that. And that's probably a better practice that we could do up here as well.
I call it the boating cornucopia.
Yeah, but there's method to the madness though too. Everything is there. You can see it all rather than somebody getting home and go, my flares aren't on here. And you go, well, go look underneath that port cushion and, you know, oh, okay, I didn't see them tucked up in there. That's like most of the time, if it's got a full canvas package boat, we'll put the canvas all on, right? Everything, all the zippers are there. Everything's put together. Sure. It's summertime. It's hot. It's going to be, but at the same time, then the customer's learning, okay, here, you know, this is how we put it up. This is how we take it down. This is where we're going to, you know, roll this isinglass up and not fold it and stow stuff away. But that's just why I like to have it all laid out, because I can see it's all there and just verify it.
Yeah, for sure. If you put it away with everybody, they're gonna know where everything is. Because and really in a Go Boating Kit, I mean, there's also a ton of stuff that you'll probably never even use too. I mean, there's all sorts of different 4-stroke oils. There's what else, Keith? Steering fluid, stuff like that. That more often than not.
Cans of corrosion block.
So that's good stuff. Okay, I don't know what you guys use up there. We use cleanse oil down here, and I love cleanse oil, and I am not paid by them to say that either. Put it on everything. Use it as cologne too.
Your fishing reels.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. We had somebody step up and
go.
got an answer for him over there in Saudi Arabia. So Albertine Jetty facing Marina. Albertine Abu Dhabi. So,
there you go.
That's
Awesome.
it.
Cool.
So you check with that local dealer and see if they can assist you in a boat, and hopefully they can get one, which there's none in stock anywhere in the world, I don't think so.
No. Oh man, we got some awesome questions coming in on the side here now, and I'm really excited to end this episode with that one there from Anthony Foley here in a second. Gets me fired up just looking at that question.
Yeah.
But we've got another good question here from Mark. Is there a break-in period for Verado outboards? What are your thoughts on that, Kit? Because I've typically said no, but
I don't think there's we always tell our customers on Yamaha and Mercury, the first 20 hours, there is not a mandatory, but we do a 20-hour break-in service, lower gear case oil and topside oil. But for the first 10 hours, and Captain Keith vouched for me on this, vary your throttle for the first 10 hours. Don't run it wide open. Find that, optimum cruise speed and bounce it around from different RPMs. Don't hold the boat for 30 miles at 32 miles an hour. Just vary it and let that engine break in properly.
Yeah. Once again, this goes back to probably the very first question we had on here from Lisa. Open up your owner's manual and look in there. If there's any doubt, it's the table of contents. Like Mercury, it's super simple. There's about page 2 or 3. It's going to say break-in procedure, and you go to page 62 or whatever it is in there, and it's one little page in there. And for like the Verados now, these new stuff coming out, they're going to say no, there isn't. But like Kit just said, just kind of vary your RPMs, vary your speeds for a while. On some of the smaller Mercury outboards, it's the first 2 hours is the break-in period, and they'll tell you to run at a 3/4 throttle every 10 minutes, kick it up to wide open throttle for 1 minute, and then come back down in that 3/4 range. So, but they're all different, whether it's a 60 horse, a 90, or, you get up into the Verados and stuff. So it's in your owner's pack. It's right there in black and white. It's your engine. You just paid a ton of money for it. You want to protect it. Just take the time. You owe that to yourself. Open up the book, and it's going to be right there. And Yamaha's totally different than Mercury. So Yamaha's, our guys, the guys when they're breaking the boats in and stuff like that, there's a whole different scenario for Yamaha than there is Merc.
Cool. Let's see, 3:48. So it looks like we got time for one more question, and then we're gonna get to talking about the new Mercury 600 horsepower V12. Brian says, what is the procedure for registration with the Coast Guard? Do you assist in the process? Well, there's a couple ways you can go about this. You can either state register it or Coast Guard document a boat, and typically your larger vessels are going to be Coast Guard documented, which right now with everything going on, the Coast Guard is running a little bit behind. It might take you a couple months at least to get those doxed back, and that is something that MarineMax absolutely does handle in a business office, at least at our store anyways, as far as FL numbers and proper documentation, sending it out like that, working with the DMV, and then getting that all sent to you with your registration and stuff. So yeah, Brian, that's something that MarineMax handles on the back end.
Yes.
You guys ready to talk about the V12 Verados?
Let's get to the good stuff.
All right, so this is the question that we were waiting for everybody to ask us. We've got Anthony Foyle here that says, you think the Mercury V12 will take off or might take a few years for industry adoption? So for those of you watching, Mercury released a new project this week, or that they've been working on for quite some time. They released the new 600 horsepower V12. Yep, you heard that right. A V12 outboard engine, 600 horsepower, naturally aspirated, and it is absolutely going to change the game. And the innovation in that engine is something that we're going to see for decades to come. But as they saw on the 12-minute video that they released, it is much more than just a bigger engine. There's a lot of innovation in this engine too. For example, you've got a 2-speed transmission. You have which supposedly you can't even tell when you're shifting it. You can't even tell when it kicks in or when it switches. You have the engine itself doesn't move. Only the lower unit is going to move, and that there's a lot of advantages to that also. Also, maintenance. It's got a hood like a car. The maintenance schedule is completely different. So I'm excited for it. I think that with the amount of 40-foot plus center consoles being pumped out, to answer your question directly, no, it's not going to take a long time for it to take off, because there already is such a need in the boating market right now for those big engines. So what are your guys' thoughts?
Go ahead, Kip.
I think it's going to take off huge. Just supply and demand is going to be the number one key here. But I think that, Boston Whaler as one of the prototypes, one of, I think, 6 boats tested, like we were talking about earlier, y'all, that the transom looks so much better with that boat, a little bit lighter. It's going to be faster. 63 miles an hour on a 42-foot boat. Holy cow. I mean, how much faster do you really honestly need to go before you just start burning it out? Before you know it, you're on E and you haven't even made it to the rigs. So I think innovation, like you said, Nick, not any major services until 1,000 hours that you have to pull the boat out of the water right there from the top side. That's huge for people that have boat lifts. Moving their boat around sometimes tough. It's challenging, especially in the summertime if you need a service of some sort.
Yeah.
Well, you lost me because I'm still thinking about the rigs. Nick and I are jealous, man. You can get out there and go fish those things, and we don't have that over here.
Oh yeah, you guys have just an incredible fishery up there with those rigs. Keith, what are your thoughts, man? What I am excited about? Did you see the 400 SLX that they had, one of the prototype boats with the twin 600s?
No, I didn't.
How about that color? Woo.
What about that sea? I don't know if it was sea deck or teak, but it had a funky design and it looked awesome. That boat, I almost think I like that. I like that boat even more than the R series, that 400 SLX RE, or whatever we were talking about earlier.
Why so many letters at the end? Can we just call it one name?
Yeah. But there's advantages to that too. I mean, with the whole engine itself not working, first of all, it's got a 45-degree angle that these engines can move, or that the propellers can move. They're dual props. You're going to see better handling at those lower speeds. You're going to see able to fit more of these engines on the back of these boats without having the whole thing having to turn. And it had to happen eventually, guys. It really did. I mean, come on. We can't be putting 5 or 6 engines on the back of center consoles. I mean, that's a nightmare. That's a lot of lower units on a boat. That's a lot of different engines that something could go wrong on, putting, 5 engines on the back of a boat. I mean, that just, there's a lot going on back there when you can just have 3 600s, right?
Less moving parts for sure.
So
but they'll just keep making them bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you'll have all of a sudden quad 600s and 5 600s, and somebody's going to do it, right? I mean, there'll be a boat. Yeah, there'll be a boat builder that's all right. Let's tweak this. Let's play with this.
Yeah, how about that Scout 53 LXF with Sync 450Rs? Holy
I saw that.
I mean, how much? That thing's huge.
Oh, they're huge boats too. I hopped on a 530 LXF over at our Stewart store, and it's impressive. It's a big boat. It's a big center console.
I mean, how much bigger do you go? I mean, how about a 65 Suenos?
The Estrella. So really quick here, looks like we have some more questions coming in. We're going to have to get to these next week because we're coming up on an hour. I can't believe it, but let's talk about deliveries. What do you guys have delivering this week? Keith, you go first. What do you have delivering here through the end of the week?
Well, take a wild guess. Got another
320 Sundancer outboard. I'm sure you do.
There you go. That's going Saturday. We got some Nautic Stars. We got some little whalers, got some Montauks. We got some smaller stuff rolling out of here this week, and then finish it off with that 32.
Kit, what about you? What do you have going on?
Oh, let's see. I have a delivery on Saturday, 21 SPX outboard that got postponed due to rain, unfortunately. Yeah. And then I have a 215 Grady demo, and I am working a 336 Canyon demo as well. So awesome. Got a busy weekend. Hopefully the weather holds out. Looks like it's going to be nice, but we keep Captain Chris busy here with demos. They actually just demoed our 42 whaler a little while ago. So in the pouring down rain.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but we got a busy week ahead.
Hey, I don't know. I'm not sure where Paul Roth's located at, but if you see in the comments here, he's looking for a Rampage 34-foot with twin Yanmars. So I don't know what's out there in the brokerage world.
Yeah, I know some stuff like that comes across Kit's desk here and there.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can just email me if you'd like. It's kit.bodree@marinemax.com. That's Bodree is my last name. Or if you're down in Nick's territory, it's Nick dot his last name. Pronounce it Nick. I don't want to mess it up.
Pavlakis.
There you go. I would have destroyed that.
But there we go. There's your email down there. So send
Oh,
Kit
perfect. There you go.
Looking for that.
Yeah, be happy to help. Be happy to help.
Yep.
There's man, I've got, let's see, I just had a 19 SPX go out this morning. I have this 54 Aquila delivering towards the end of the month, and just talking about a big boat delivery. They're actually going down into Keys with that with Captain Chris. They're gonna make a couple days out of it. We're gonna get super involved with the technical side of things too, and it's just like, I mean, big boats like that, especially when you start talking about yachts. I mean, it's a little intimidating, and what better way to break it in with the systems than with a captain like that on your first trip, like Kit you talked about earlier with your captain Chris on your Azimuth S6, and just how much better he felt after making a trip with the captain.
Man, I can't tell you enough about that delivery with Captain Chris. There's no better feeling. You have those ones, and Keith, you'll know, that delivery never goes smooth, and you can't make it perfect for that customer. But then you have those ones that, you always say the biggest boats are the hardest people to please, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're the easiest people if you really take care of it. Yep. I got a picture. Captain Chris and I both, he sent us both a text with all of his grandchildren. Actually, I think there was 4 of them, and his grandson and all granddaughters with their boys on the back of the boat. And name of the boat's Mind Your Business. And with him in the middle, and that picture was priceless. It's priceless.
Wait, I think that boat's here in St. Pete, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's down there right now.
Oh man, that name looks awesome on that boat. That I don't know if you saw it, but
I designed it. Yeah.
No kidding, really.
The red, yeah.
Oh,
Yacht Signs did a great job. We lit up the S6 on the side and the engine room. Man. Vents and everything. It turned out beautiful.
Oh man, that boat looks awesome at night. It lights up the whole marina.
He's gonna stay down there and do the Azimuth getaway.
54.
Yeah, he's gonna do the Azimuth getaway to Ocean Reef. So he's gonna keep it down there. He's getting a few punch list items done, and then it'll go back to Sandestin, Baytown, where it lives.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome, man. That came out great. Well, Kit, thanks for joining us. Took up a whole hour of
absolutely
of your day here, so I appreciate you making the time. And as we make our way into the busy boating season, it's going to get a little bit hectic for everybody. If you're in the panhandle of Florida and you are looking for that boat, give Kit a call, shoot him an email right now you see it in the comments over there, because whatever inventory is available right now, it's probably going to be gone pretty quick. And if you're going to order a boat and you want to have any hopes of getting it by the summertime, now's the time to place that order. So if you're up in the Pensacola area, then shoot Kit an email there in the comments. But either way, thanks for joining us, Kit.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. Greatly appreciate it. We're ready to rock and roll this season.
Yep.
Y'all too.
Good stuff. Keith, thanks for joining me once again. I look forward to joining you again next week. And you want to sign us off before we head into the week here?
Who do we got next week, actually? Where are we at?
Let's see.
Andy Rishoft. He's a national service and parts manager at MarineMax Minnesota.
Oh,
he's going to be on there. So all you guys out there, any of your service questions, parts questions, and stuff like that, come a-blazing next Monday at 3:00. And, catch us on YouTube and Facebook and all the other podcast channels that growing daily, I think. So thanks again. Thanks, Kit. Thanks, Nick.
Awesome.
See you guys out on the water.